On this episode, we make a list of things that we need for the OBS Chevy build. Then we throw an alternator on the old girl. Then we go over and pick up an old square body Chevy, and we had a lot of fun bringing that thing home.
I just don't root at all.
Wanted to build a truck for $2,500, and that's including the truck price. So my cousin had this stepside he had for a long time. He offered to me for $1,000, and I went over and checked out the frame. As long as we have a good frame to start from, I believe that is a great foundation, and we can go from there. But this truck is more than just a good frame. It has a good body. It runs good, it moves, and there's nothing really wrong with it, just it needs some maintenance, right? So I gave him $1,000 for this truck. I brought it home. We're gonna build this truck for $2,500 or less. That means wheels and tires, that means a paint job, that means making stuff sound good, making things look good, and making this truck enjoyable to drive and enjoyable to look at, even though it's just an old 1988 Chevy truck with a carbureted 350. At the end, you'll see the results of this truck, and you can see how you can take $2,500 and make an awesome truck, and you don't have to spend $1 million to have a nice looking, OBS Chevy. And I can't wait to build this thing. Well, it's early in the morning. We got to go over and get an old square body Chevy out of the weeds. Going to pull that out. Might take a little bit because the truck's been sitting for a while. We're going to go over and holler and do that, and then we're going to get to working on the budget OBS Chevy truck. So let's go ahead and jump over to where the truck is, and let's get this baby out so we can start working on the project truck.
Down there just a getting her when it comes loose.
So we finally got up out of there. The calipers are starting to unstick a little bit, so we're going to pull it up in the road and start going with it.
Yeah. So we got the old Chevy out of the weeds. Ain't got no brakes, so we're going to go ahead and pour with the old diesel. Sometimes these old trucks don't want to come out, but we got her out now. There, he's picking up some speed. We'll get this baby around there before dark. That's what I grew up doing, so pretty fun. A lot of people would have got a trailer and just hauled this truck, but we live like a mile down the road from this truck. So, you know what? It was fun to pull it with a chain and everything. I grew up doing stuff like that. My dad would have me in, cars like that and moving me around in the field and moving me to the other field or whatever. My dad kind of like raised me up doing stuff like that, and it was fun. And it's still fun today going and getting an old vehicle, and if you gotta pull it, you gotta pull it. If you can start it up, put some gas in it, fix the brakes, and drive it home, that's fine. But this particular vehicle we had to pull because of the transmission seal was leaking and stuff like that. And we was running out of daylight, so I just went ahead and pulled it with the chain. Pretty fun hanging out with family too, and hearing the jokes and having a good time. So bring back old memories. Calipers are starting to stick up again, man. It's on this dirt road. Oh yeah, I don't like this dirt road at all. Oh! The brakes are sticking. Pull me over the hill. Yeah, go easy like that, right there. That caliper don't like that gravel when you're going fast, man. Whew! Both of them keep locking up, sliding all over the place.
Thought I'd let you guys take a look at the motor. It is dark out, so you're not going to see very much of the truck. But we did get it home, and here's the old motor. Oh, we finally got it in here.
The two front calipers on this truck were stuck, and we had a heck of a time getting it out of where it even was. We aired up the tires, and we started yanking on it, and all it would do is slide. And finally we got it on the black top where the wheels would finally break loose. And as you see, the wheels broke loose, but they still wanted to grab and lock up on me. They did great on the black top, but as soon as we got on that gravel road to the holler, it started wanting to lock up again, and it started throwing me over the hill. We had to go real slow, and by the time we got done, it was dark, and it was time to shut down the camera equipment and go home and go to bed. It took half a day to get this thing out, but it was pretty fun, and it's always fun going and getting old vehicles like this. It's a two-wheel drive. It's a nice parts truck. That's about all it's for, and that's what we got it for. And now it's out, it's at the house, and you can use it for parts and just take things off of it. There's a lot of stuff you can still use on this truck. I mean, you could even fix it up if you wanted to. That's not what I'm into. I'm not into the two-wheel drive scene. It's the next day because it took way too long yesterday to get that truck out, so we're gonna go out here and pop the hood and take the alternator off first. That'll be the first thing we do because that's the easiest, and it's pretty cheap to do, and it doesn't take very long. Little crack right here. Might have to weld that up or get a new bracket.
I don't like that. This ear broke anyway. Here's the wire that goes on the back of the alternator. As you can see, that can't be like that at all. That's a no-go. So we're gonna have to cut that off and fix it, get new things for it, because that can't be like that. Clean that up, fix that up when we put the new alternator on. But got it off. Here's the alternator. It's doesn't seem like a very good one to me. I think it's pretty much junk. I'm gonna go ahead and take this ground wire off because it's red, and this ain't a very good place to ground anything anyway. I usually ground it on the motor. So just gonna go ahead and take that off, swap the cables, put the red where it needs to go, and then put the black where it needs to go. Just cleaning up the wire and the terminals so they get the best connection. In a future video, I'm going to show you guys how to make your own terminals, and they're going to be 10 times better than what you can buy. Stay tuned for that. I don't like these. These suck. They're like the crappiest terminals you can buy. Putting this back down there where it belongs. Don't forget to run your cable through that little loop. I went ahead and ran the power wire right here through it also, so it keeps it away from the manifold or the headers. As you can see, I got it on. Now I'm just gonna tighten it up, then move it from the header. Make sure it don't burn the header. I'm gonna tighten it. As you can see, I got a socket on it right there. And I got an extension coming out way over here. That way, I can just move this hose. And as you can see, I can go ahead and snug it up and then hold the wire down while I tighten it. As you can see, got the red wire on now. Power wire there. And I got one down to the starter. It's not touching the header. It's out of the way. And run this underneath this, so it looks a lot better. I got everything sorted out, okay? I got everything where it needs to go, the wiring a little bit better. Some of the grounds are gonna go for that. And this ground right here is going to go in the back of that also. And then I got my ground wire and my power wire. Man, I can't even say it right. Power wire ran. Got this out of the way. So we just got to wait for the alternator to come in the mail. Go ahead and stick it on. Get everything lined up. As you can see, it leaks. It's a Chevy 350. What do you guys expect, right? But I'm gonna clean it off a little bit. But waiting on the alternator to show up in the mail. It don't run until like 11:30. So I got the power steering lined up where it needs to be. And it was really crooked. Before, and it ate the belt off of it. But one thing I did notice is this antifreeze right here, so that hose looks like it needs tightened up. So we're gonna tighten that up. So I wanted to make a list, and I wanted to put it on the door, and we can add to this list, and we can check mark things off on this list. Now there's some things that still need added on the list, but this is the stuff that has to be done before the truck can be mobile, right? So
the truck is 100% mobile, but there's some things that I got to correct, like the crank seal needs replaced and the oil pan gasket needs replaced. I'm going to go ahead and throw on some valve pan cover gaskets. And some of the stuff I've already got, I got to put an alternator on it. You guys seen the list. We wanted to make a list. Like I said, we'll be adding to that. And when the truck is done, when all the things that are for it done, we can go ahead and total it up on the door, and you'll see how much I have in this truck. And then we can paint the truck. I'm pretty excited. The truck is starting to come together, and I can't wait to see the final product because this truck's actually in decent shape, and I have a lot to work with. It's not like those Jeeps where you have to cut and fold and make it work or weld something to it. This truck, I have a nice foundation to work with. So I'm at the side of the truck, and I'm going to write down all the parts that I need and mark them out as I go. So we're going to stick them on the door. Alright, 2 of these things I've already received and put them on. So we went ahead and got that one, and we got this. The brake line I pretty much had already, so I really didn't include that. But the total of this, and that's including the tool that I had to buy, the puller and everything. I'm just waiting on the rest of the stuff to come in the mail. The puller's here. I only paid $16.99 for it. All this stuff is on its way. This is all the stuff that I gotta do. So I gotta put a crank seal in it, oil pan gasket, and an oil change, and maybe rebuild the carburetor. I don't know yet. And we can add to this list if we have to and keep totaling it up until we're done, and then we'll see how much we have in this truck so far. Added this section. I don't know how much money I'm going to spend on that yet, so let's put wheels and tires and paint. Like I said, I'm going to be adding to this list as time goes on, so we'll have tools, parts, and down here will be stuff I order that I want to order, aftermarket stuff. Alright, got the alternator on. I got it just sitting here. I got to pull this back, tighten the belt up, and that's basically it. I just reversed everything I did, and I got to tighten all the wires up. Fix that. That's it. That's basically it. Alright, we got the new alternator on. Belt's tight. I still haven't got a belt for the power steering, but I don't need that to start it. I had to use a ratchet strap to pry the alternator back and then tighten it because I don't have enough hands or help. Alright, got the alternator on. We can check that off the list. Next thing I'm going to do is get a oil change. Go ahead and change it, change the crank seal, and change the oil pan gasket while I'm at it. Pretty self-explanatory. I got to take the motor mount bolts out, pop the motor up, get the oil pan out, and I got to get a belt for this. After we got the alternator on, everything seems to be working pretty well. It's charging really well. And I just tidied up some things under the hood today. Like the battery cables, I put the red where it needed to go and the black where it needed to go. I fixed the wiring harness where it's not scattered all over the place, because this truck did have a throttle body motor in it, and this is a carb swap. So everything is starting to come together. I'm just mainly getting all the maintenance stuff out of the way before we start actually building the truck, and I want to show you guys that also so I can document it and plus show you guys that you can do it on a budget. I did order the alternator and everything off Amazon, as you can see right here. All that stuff came off Amazon, and it can be shipped right to your door. So it runs good. I got everything tidied up. It looks good, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm really happy with my purchase, and I'm really happy about the build so far. So I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too.